It's always one of my favorites. I love it when Whitney Reynolds drops by, and she is back again for another edition of Whitney's Women. Hello, Whitney. Good morning and Happy New Year. I haven't seen you since the beginning of the new year.
I know. Happy New Year and Happy New Year to all the listeners.
Yes.
You know, we're still in January. We're at that time of the month that's just kind of like, it's cold. It's really cold.
You don't want to go anywhere. I talk about that and complain every single day about that on my radio show.
It's easy to do. But I can't believe this is the third year that Whitney's Women is going on.
That's awesome.
I know. This is like so much fun. So kicking off things, going with the cold and getting out, moving your body kind of thing. I actually have two amazing people in the studio with us. I'm going to introduce Nicole first because Nicole has started what I think is something that every woman and man needs to hear. It's kind of embracing your body. She founded Body Boop, and Body Boop is an eating disorder recovery group, but it's so real, and it's one of those things that even if you're listening right now and you're like, I don't have an eating disorder, you know, there's many things that fall in the group, and she speaks to just body image, and I think this is so great for our listeners to hear at the first of the year. So I have Nicole with me, and then we're going to get Boyan on to talk about ways to stay healthy. So Nicole, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks, Whitney.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about Body Boop.
So I founded the blog in March 2014, and it really started as a personal outlet for me. I was recovered from an eating disorder, and I was looking for resources to kind of help me along the way, and I wasn't finding very much. So I decided to start a blog and really gather experts and other recovered men and women to kind of share their stories and inspire others. And now we've moved into events, which I'll talk about with Boyan.
Yeah, so she started events, and what I think one of the things that I love about Body Boop is you're very real. And if you follow Nicole, you'll see that there's things that we all can relate to. Like, I think it was something I read, like not being able to zip up a jacket or your jeans. And as women and men, probably, we get really, really hard on ourselves. And instead of taking normal measures, we sometimes go drastic. And you're being real. Have you found that people are able to relate with that? And kind of what have they taken away from the blog?
I think people can relate, and I think it's kind of in two groups. I have a group of men and women who recovered from an eating disorder and are really looking for like clinical expertise, and then I have people like you who like maybe some days they just need a little support because they're not feeling great fitting into their jeans or their jacket.
Right.
Absolutely. And guilt and shame is not a good way to deal with that. You don't look backwards. Like if you're feeling bad about yourself, there's always the next day and you can turn things around.
One thing around eating disorders that even doing my show, because my show is a topic-based show that's all about making a difference. I hope everyone watches. But with that, we do shows on different topics, and eating disorders ones that is really tough to book guests for because no one wants to talk about it.
It does come up because it's something that you need to be conscious of. You obviously, if you are seeing maybe a potential problem, want to get involved and make sure that your child gets help. So I'm kind of saddened that it is such a secret because it doesn't seem like something that should be. It's not something that you should be ashamed of.
Right.
It's something that actually you should be applauded for if you stand up and say, hey, you know what? I do have a problem and I do need help.
That's why whenever you find someone like Nicole or someone that can talk about it, it's really amazing because a lot of people, there is shame around it. So they either don't want to admit they had the problem or they still are kind of struggling with it, and maybe it like brings up the battle wound. But you're so real and honest. Has it been something that people have just been coming out of the woodwork with you saying, I went through this too and this is how I got through it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was what kind of made me think that it should be something bigger instead of just my personal outlet, is because I started getting messages from people all over the world, or people I'd gone to school with in high school that I didn't know, had a problem and they needed somebody to talk to, or a parent of somebody who was just started struggling.
How did you personally get through the eating disorder? Because I know a little bit about your story, so it wasn't just one. It kind of went over a couple different levels of like different types. But how did you get through that?
Well, it started with anorexia at 14, and at that point your parents kind of making health decisions for you with your input. And then when I got to college, it shifted to anorexia and bulimia, and that's when I really started to have to really do hard work and think to myself, okay, this is not the life that I want to live. I have all these goals that I want to accomplish, and this eating disorder is really getting in the way of that. So, I flew myself to treatment. I've stayed in therapy, so it really becomes like, are you going to make that decision, or are you going to hold yourself back?
There's something I've heard you say before on past things I've listened to that you've spoken at, is one of the things was I have not overcome my eating disorder. It is a daily thing that you have to work on. And I think that's such an encouragement for anybody that struggles with any type of addiction, that it really is something to say like, okay, I've, gotten a lot of help in this, but it's kind of always with you, and you have to remember to stay strong daily.
And I think the shame has a lot to do with that. People want to think, I'm done with it, it's in the past. They don't want to talk about mental health issues because it's really scary. And anorexia is lethal. It's a really serious physical and mental disease.
You just touched on something about it being scary, and it's a physical and mental disease, and people need to realize that, because yes, we can see it, physically. You can see when someone with an eating disorder, I mean, it is anorexia and is extremely thin, but it's so much deeper than what you're just seeing in that person.
It is, and it takes a lot of work to get through it, and that's why I'm so happy Body Boop was formed. It's there. You can check it out online. But now you're doing events. You mentioned the events. That's where Boyan comes in. So you've kind of started forming events, not just for eating disorder people. It's like anybody can go, and the money goes back to what is ANADS? Am I saying it right?
That's
What
right.
is ANADS?
That's the National Association of Anorexia Nervosa and Associated Disorders. So 10% of any merchandise or events that I host goes straight back to eating disorder related charities.
That is wonderful. And so you started doing these events to kind of raise awareness for it, and also just kind of getting people in the healthy mind. You've done a couple of yoga things. You're actually partnering with Fit Lincoln Park. We have Boyan with us. And what are we looking at this event? Boyan, do you want to tell us what you're going to be doing with some of these ladies and men?
Well, what we're going to be doing is a total body workout class that involves just not having to go to the gym, not needing dumbbells or bands or anything, where it's all about promoting health and being able to work out anywhere in your home, in your office, just using your body and the furniture around your house. You could do dips off your stairs, you could do stair climbs, you could do push-ups off your couch, you could do planks off your couch, you could do windmills, hill climbers. Just sitting against your wall for 30 seconds 5 times a day will change your butt, your legs in less than a month.
All right, well, you and I need to talk then, because I need you to help me change my stomach.
Yeah,
You can do it in the studio right here.
Yeah, so that's what's impressive about your workouts, is you kind of teach the everyday person how they can incorporate their home. I mean, you do personal training too, so obviously you set up regimens all the time for people. But with this class, you're going to be doing kind of working all the different muscles,
Everything,
but in
the whole
5
body.
minutes. 5-minute routines for each of them. Is that kind of how your
Yeah,
structure works?
yeah. It's we're gonna go over what you could do in 45 minutes. If you only have 15 minutes, if just out of the blue you get a couple minutes time and you want to work your core, it's gonna go over all of that. But the importance of it is just it's gonna be easy to hard. Where hard is not gonna be I need 50 pounds of weights, I need to kill my knees. None of that. It's just pushing yourself.
So with being a trainer in the city, I bet that's kind of how you formed this routine, because it's one of those, people are always short on time.
Oh, I train people in offices. I mean, I train people outside
that.
of their office.
Watch out, we'll be doing it here at Whitney's Women next time. Yeah.
Anywhere.
So Fit Lincoln Park is located on Armitage and Halstead.
Yeah, so 1963 North Halstead.
And when is the event going on, Nicole?
January 28th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m.
Okay, and where do people sign up?
You can actually go to my blog, mybodyboop.com, and we have a link to the Eventbrite.
That is awesome. Well, thank you both so much for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Very informative and interesting, and I do love the fact that, well, now I have no excuse to not work out.
Yes.
I can actually do it at home. I can do it at work.
I know, that's what he's kind of taught me.
Yeah.
And I just want all the listeners to walk away that being healthy is not just physical,
Right.
it's mental too.
Well, and I think that was what I was trying and stumbling over trying to say earlier about anorexia is that, well, yes, you can see the physical part of it. There are so many more layers to it that
Absolutely.
aren't just physical, but mental as well. So
Absolutely.
thank you very much for
Yeah, thank
sharing your
you.
story, Nicole.
Yeah, thank you both for coming on, and thanks for having me back on another episode of Whitney's Women.
That's right. Whitney's Women is back in 2016. And don't forget to catch the Whitney Reynolds Show, too, on PBS.
Monday nights at 6:30 or on WhitneyReynolds.com.
All right. Have a great weekend, everyone.